I found a note hidden in her jacket pocket. It just said, "Next time, don't leave a trace." At first, I thought it was some sort of joke. Maybe a shopping list gone cryptic. But no. The handwriting wasn't mine, and it definitely wasn't hers either. Something about it made my skin crawl. "My name's Sean, and I've been married to Vanessa for 7 years. We were the golden couple according to all our friends, the kind people hated just a little because we made marriage look effortless. Truth is, I thought we were solid. I trusted her with my life." But that note. It shattered something inside me. It wasn't just out of place, it felt wrong. I'd never been the paranoid type. Hell, I always prided myself on giving her freedom. Girls' nights? No problem. Solo trips? Have fun. I believed love meant trust. But once I saw that note, it was like a switch flipped. I couldn't unsee it. And that's where it all began, the unraveling of my perfect little world. What I found over the next few weeks would break me in ways I didn't think possible. And it all started with that one stupid, haunting note. I didn't confront her right away. Maybe I should have. But something told me to wait, to watch. So I started doing something I never thought I'd do in my life. I began snooping on my own wife. The first thing I checked was her phone. I know, it's a violation of trust. But after finding that note, I couldn't help myself. The weird thing was, her phone was clean. Too clean. No sketchy messages, no random names. Even her call log was tidy, like it had been curated. That was the first red flag. Then I remembered she had a second phone, a work phone her company gave her. She always kept it in her purse, and she was pretty protective of it. I'd never thought anything of it before. But now? That thing felt radioactive. One night, while she was in the shower, I tried to open her purse. Locked. She had a little travel lock loop through the zipper. Who does that? I'd never seen it before. That's when I knew, this wasn't in my head. Vanessa was hiding something. And if it wasn't on her personal phone, it had to be on that second one. So I did what any desperate, unraveling husband would do. I waited for my chance. The next day, I called in sick to work. I pretended to be asleep when she left. And the moment the front door clicked shut, I got out of bed and followed her. I had no idea where she was going. But wherever it was, I had a feeling it would change everything. I stayed far enough behind that she wouldn't notice me. It helped that she drove. I took my brother's old car so she wouldn't recognize it. She headed toward the city, past the office where she usually worked. I figured maybe she had a client meeting or something. Until she pulled into the parking lot of a small boutique hotel. A hotel. At 10:15 a.m. on a Thursday. I watched her from across the street. She parked, checked herself in the mirror, touched up her lipstick, something she never did casually, then grabbed her purse and the damn work phone and walked in. No luggage. No briefcase. Just her. I sat there in disbelief. I kept telling myself, maybe it's a work thing. Maybe she's meeting a client who's visiting. Maybe she's planning a surprise for me. But none of those explanations held up. I waited. 20 minutes passed. Then 30. I couldn't take it anymore. I parked my car, threw on a hoodie, and walked into the hotel lobby, pretending to check in. I scanned the guest list behind the counter, hoping to catch her name, but it was blocked by the monitor. Then I saw the elevator ding. A man stepped out. Tall, athletic build, maybe late 30s, dressed in business casual. He looked around, like he was checking to see if the coast was clear. And then Vanessa walked out of the hallway and into his arms. She kissed him. Right there in the middle of the lobby. I froze. My heart didn't just break, it shattered. I couldn't breathe. I ducked behind a potted plant like some idiot in a bad movie, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. My wife, the woman I made vows with, built a life with, was wrapped around another man like he was her world. She looked happy. Carefree. Like the version of her I hadn't seen in months. And that hurt more than the kiss. I didn't confront them. I couldn't. My body refused to move. My mind was 1,000 miles away. Was this real? Was this a dream? I walked out of the lobby like a ghost, got back in the car, and just sat. For what must have been an hour. Every memory I had of us played on a loop. Our wedding. Her laughing in the kitchen at midnight. The time she cried when we lost our dog. The weekend trip where she swore I was her soulmate. Was any of that real? I drove home in silence. I didn't cry. Not yet. I was too numb. But the silence in the house that day was unbearable. It was the silence of betrayal. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how long this had been going on. Was it a one-time thing? A fling? An affair? I wanted to scream, to break something. But I didn't. Instead, I poured myself a drink and sat on the couch, staring at nothing, waiting for her to come home. And when she finally did, she kissed me like everything was normal. Her kiss was soft, familiar, deceptive. I let her do it. I let her pretend. I even smiled. "Rough day?" she asked, tossing her bag onto the chair. Her work phone was in her hand, the same one she'd likely used to text him. She didn't even flinch. Her act was flawless. "Yeah," I said, my voice steady. "Just tired." And that was the beginning of a twisted game, a game where I had to pretend I didn't know. Where every "I love you" from her mouth made my stomach churn. Where every minute I wasn't confronting her was a minute I was drowning in questions. I couldn't sleep that night. I just lay there, watching her breathe, wondering if she was dreaming about him. What hurt the most wasn't the cheating. It was the ease of it. She came home like nothing happened. She curled up next to me like we were fine. Like our marriage wasn't just a hollow echo of what it used to be. I didn't confront her because I wasn't ready for the truth. Not yet. Instead, I started planning. I needed to know everything. Who he was. How long it had been going on. Why she chose him. I wasn't just a betrayed husband anymore. I was an investigator. And I was going to expose everything, no matter how much it destroyed. The next morning, she left early. Said she had a team meeting and might be home late. I smiled and kissed her goodbye, like a damn actor playing the role of a loyal husband. The moment she was out the door, I got to work. I started with her laptop. She never logged out, a blessing and a curse. It felt invasive, sick even, rifling through her digital life. But what choice did I have? At first, it was normal stuff. Work documents, calendar meetings, Amazon orders. Then I opened her email. She had a folder named Archived Reports that didn't match anything else. Inside were dozens of messages. But not from her work. They were love letters. Dozens of them. Some dated back over a year. They weren't explicit, no photos, no dirty talk, but they were emotional. Deep. Real. Worse than physical cheating, in some ways. She told him about me. About our fights. About how she felt trapped in her marriage. About how I didn't see her anymore. She even said, "You're the only one who makes me feel alive." My hands were shaking. I wanted to scream, to throw her laptop out the window. But I kept going. One message had an attachment. I clicked. It was a photo. Of the two of them. On our anniversary. They were at the beach I thought she'd gone to with her sister. And in the background? I saw the towel I gave her. The one with our initials embroidered on it. That photo broke something in me. Not because they were smiling. Not because they looked happy. But because she used something from our life, our memories, to decorate her lie. That towel was part of our wedding gift set. We used it on our honeymoon. And now, there it was, laid out beneath them like some sick symbol of everything I thought we had. I closed the laptop, heart pounding, face hot. I couldn't sit still. I walked circles around the kitchen, gripping the edge of the counter, breathing like I'd just run a marathon. Was this what rage felt like when it had nowhere to go? No one to scream at, no one to punch, just silence and betrayal echoing through your bones? I was spiraling. But I needed more. So I did something I told myself I'd never do. I hired a private investigator. I didn't care if it made me look crazy. I was crazy from pretending everything was fine while my wife lived a double life. The guy I hired was ex-cop, discreet, and didn't ask a lot of questions. I gave him the basics, her schedule, the hotel, and one of the email addresses from the archive. He nodded like he'd seen it all before. He probably had. "Give me 3 days," he said. "I'll get you the truth." I shook his hand, and as I left his office, I realized something. This wasn't just about knowing anymore. This was about choosing who I'd become once I finally did. The next 3 days felt like a lifetime. I tried to act normal, asked her about her day, laughed at her stories, even cooked her favorite pasta one night. But every time she smiled at me, it felt like acid on my skin. She had no idea I knew. No clue I was watching her every move. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. All I could think about was what I might find, and whether I was ready to face it. On the third night, the investigator called. "You're going to want to sit down," he said. "Those are words you never want to hear." But I didn't sit. I stood there in the middle of my garage, the phone cold in my hand, as he told me everything. The man she was seeing wasn't just some random fling. His name was Damon Ross. Divorced. Mid-40s. Worked in corporate consulting. And here's the kicker, they met 2 years ago. At a professional development retreat. 2 years. They'd been seeing each other regularly ever since, hotels, weekend getaways, even trips out of state when she claimed to be on business. She had a whole second life with him. But it didn't end there. The worst part? She wasn't just cheating. She was planning to leave me. Texts between them showed it all. She was waiting for her year-end bonus to clear. Then she was gone. She even joked in one message, "I'll leave him the house, he can cry into the mortgage." That's when I realized. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a calculated execution. I didn't cry. I thought I would, thought I'd collapse on the floor and scream until my lungs gave out. But I didn't. Instead, I felt cold. Focused. Like something inside me had gone still. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was strategic about it. She'd played me like a game piece. Built a life with someone else while pretending to be mine. And she planned to leave me when it suited her best, financially, logistically, emotionally. Like I was some old sweater she was ready to donate once winter ended. I stared at the wall in my garage for a long time. Then I walked back inside the house, calm as ever, and kissed her on the cheek like nothing had changed. She was on the couch watching some rom-com, laughing, wrapped in the blanket my mom gave us as a wedding gift. That night, I started my own plan. If she wanted to leave me, fine. But she wasn't going to walk away clean. Not after this. She wanted to leave me the house. Good. I'd make sure she regretted every brick of it. I made a quiet list of everything that mattered to her. Her art collection, her designer shoes, the savings account I'd helped build, the friends she'd lied to about our marriage. All of it was leveraged now. I wasn't going to stoop to her level, I wasn't going to cheat or lie or ruin her career. But I was going to take control of the ending. And I had no intention of letting her walk out of this story as the one who won. The first thing I did was visit our bank. I added two-step authentication to every account. Changed security questions. Transferred half our savings into a private account under my name only, the half that came from my salary, my inheritance, and my investments. She'd have a hard time arguing for it in court. I'd already spoken to a lawyer and laid the groundwork. Then I made copies of everything. The emails. The texts. The hotel receipts the Pi gave me. Even screenshots of her Instagram where she'd geotagged places she'd claimed never to have been. I uploaded them to a cloud drive with a secure password and labeled the folder, Insurance. Next, I called my buddy Nick. He's in IT, and let's just say he knows how to recover data, even deleted stuff. What he found on her second phone made me sick. Nude photos. Dirty voice notes. Videos. One taken in our bedroom. She had filmed herself in our bed with Damon. The same bed where we conceived our daughter 3 years ago, the daughter we lost in a miscarriage that nearly broke us both. Or so I thought. It was in that moment, watching that video in silence, that I realized something. She never mourned the way I did. She moved on while I stayed frozen. That night, she came home late. Said she had meetings again. I smiled and asked her how they went. She smiled back and said, "Long but productive." And I thought to myself, you have no idea, Vanessa. You've just stepped into a trap you built with your own days turned into a blur of quiet calculations. I smiled when she looked at me. I laughed when she told me stories about work. I even kissed her goodnight. But inside, I was a storm. Every lie she told echoed in my mind like a relentless drumbeat. How many times had she said she loved me? How many times had I believed it, only to find out it was a lie? The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was emotional, spiritual, a knife twisting in the heart of every memory we shared. But beneath the rage was something darker, sorrow. Grief for the future we lost. The trust shattered beyond repair. I kept wondering, could I forgive her? Could I ever feel safe again? The answer scared me. I couldn't trust her anymore. Not even the smallest thing. She wasn't just my wife anymore, she was a stranger wearing my face. And I was trapped in this house with her, pretending that everything was okay. But I wasn't done yet. I was waiting for the right moment. The moment when she'd finally slip up. And when that happened, I'd be ready. It wasn't long before I noticed changes in her behavior. Small things. Nervous glances at her phone. Pauses mid-sentence. A tighter grip on her purse when she walked through the door. The confident woman I once knew was slowly unraveling. One evening, I caught her staring at me, really staring, like she was trying to decide something. Her eyes flickered with guilt, fear, maybe even regret. For a moment, I thought she might confess. But she didn't. Instead, she smiled, a fragile, broken smile, and said, "We should talk." My heart jumped. Was this it? The confrontation I'd been dreading and craving? But before I could respond, she added, "Not now. Maybe soon." That maybe soon haunted me. What was she waiting for? Was she trying to find the courage? Or was she just buying time? I didn't know. And that uncertainty was torture. Meanwhile, the investigator kept feeding me updates, confirming new rendezvous, confirming phone records, tracking flights she never mentioned. The evidence was mounting, but so was the tension at home. It was like living on a powder keg, one wrong move, and everything would blow apart. I braced myself, knowing that moment was coming. And I wasn't sure who'd survive it, her, me, or what was left of us. One night, I woke up to my phone buzzing. A message from an unknown number. "We need to talk. Meet me tomorrow at the park near the old fountain. 8 p.m. No name. No clue who it was. I spent the whole day wondering, was it Vanessa? Damon? The investigator? Or someone else entirely? When 8 p.m. finally came, I was pacing like a caged animal. My heart thundered in my chest. I arrived early, hiding in the shadows, eyes scanning every face that passed by. Then I saw her, Vanessa. She looked exhausted, fragile. No makeup, messy hair, the weight of secrets pressing down on her. I thought about walking away. Pretending I never got the message. Pretending this nightmare could end quietly. But I didn't. I stepped out of the shadows. She looked up, startled. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Sean, I have to tell you We sat on the cold bench beneath the flickering street lamp, the night swallowing our words. Vanessa's voice trembled as she spoke. She told me everything, about Damon, the loneliness, the guilt that ate at her, and how she never intended to hurt me but felt trapped in a life that wasn't hers anymore. She confessed the affair had started as an escape but had grown into something she couldn't walk away from. She admitted she was scared of losing me, scared of facing the truth, scared of the consequences. I listened, my heart breaking with every word, torn between anger and the remnants of love I still held. When she finally looked up, eyes raw and vulnerable, I realized the fight wasn't just about betrayal, it was about two people who had lost their way. I wanted to scream, to yell, to demand answers. But all I could do was sit there and hold her hand, feeling the weight of everything between us. That night, nothing was solved. But the walls started to crumble. In the weeks that followed, Vanessa and I faced the hardest conversations of our lives. We didn't have all the answers. We didn't know if we could rebuild what was broken. But we started trying, with honesty, with raw emotion, with the willingness to face the pain head-on. I won't pretend it was easy. Some days, the hurt still feels fresh like a wound that won't close. But sometimes, the greatest strength comes from the willingness to forgive, not just her, but myself too. If there's one thing I've learned from this nightmare, it's this: trust isn't given, it's earned, every single day. And sometimes, the person you thought you knew best can surprise you the most. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been through something similar, or just want to support, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support means everything.